So, let's get into it. Oh, it's just not Adam, man. I thought it was Adam for a second. Oh, man.
Hello, and welcome to the Halloween special of the post-production podcast, filmed long before Halloween.
Oh, yes. Our face.
We got some costumes. We got technical tea. We got technical tea behind the cam. We got some
wonky business.
We got some lights. We got some.
How's your spooky lights?
Don't touch my stick. That's not even a signal. What is it?
You need to drink some beer, mate. This guy's crazy.
We got some beers.
Cheers to the beers, man.
Cheers to the beers. And we're here to talk about some
Liquid
scary,
substance.
We're here to talk about some scary subjects.
Right. What's the first question?
Okay. So as we said, this is being filmed long in advance of Halloween
Yeah.
because the week you're watching this is the week we're filming Knock Knock.
Oh, yes. Time travelers.
So right now as you're watching this, we are either having a really great time.
Or hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
Severely. In the hospital.
Severely in the hospital, hemorrhaging.
Every night, mate.
Need to get that problem looked at, Michael.
Doctors don't know shit.
We'll get us cancelled. But before we get too far into it, you know what time it is, Michael?
Let's actually lost track of the time 2 years ago.
Get a watch. Let me guess. You're watching this podcast, but you wish you could see all of the unfiltered text that me and Michael, technical tea behind the cam, may come out with. Would that be true?
A lot of insensitive comments that have been taken out.
Well, you can do that if you watch on Patreon. ZeusWeusFilm Patreon.
ZeusWeusFilm Patreon. The best Patreon on the market. Trust me. Oh, right in the good
And
spot.
not only that, if you want some stickers, we're talking some good quality Japanese glue stickers.
Japanese glue, that's coming to the store.
You can get those on the ZeusWeusFilm Teespring store.
So, what's Teespring? Link below.
Link below. You can find out. Fix it.
Link to join our cult below.
So, Michael, what do you rate our wee Halloween setup here?
I'm liking it, man. I feel right at home. Because I'm in my home right now. But the decorations are taking me to a dark place, let's be honest with ourselves here. But yeah, man, I like the cobwebs, I like the lights on the windowsill. I like this little, like, lantern you got here with skulls on it. Got a little pumpkin. Get a close up of that, Tom. Some pumpkin action.
Sit the down, what are you doing?
I was just showing off the decorations. So, yeah, and we got Skull over here at the TV.
We have a skull at the TV.
So let's get into that.
So yeah, we'll start, as we always do, going over the content
Of the week.
Except we can't do that because we don't know what this week's
I
content
love it. Yeah.
We don't know what the content is.
It's the first time we're kind of shooting well in advance, so whatever comes in the future, just stay subscribed because, we could either be better next week or we could just lose control.
Well, there is one thing they all do know.
Oh yeah, what video did we make?
It's going to be Halloween themed.
Oh,
Halloween
themed.
themed. Okay, yeah.
Look forward to a special week of Halloween themed everything.
Oh, I need a drink.
Even though we talk about in the Beyond Film School, it's all Halloween themed.
Yeah. We're going to make quite a profit off this Halloween holiday, really.
I'm
Gonna
looking
be
forward
Halloween.
to the Christmas special.
Oh, yes. We've got a lot
Dude.
of plans. with that.
The audience be like,
For fuck's sake.
are you excited?
Technical Tom.
Do an Easter
How about you
special?
spin that thing around and introduce yourself?
An Easter special.
Oh, should I say what you're going to do for the Easter special?
Go ahead. 'cause
The
I don't know.
carrot idea I had. So we're gonna put some carrots around the room. We're gonna have us. We're all gonna like hop around in bunny outfits really, and whoever finds the most carrots, I guess, wins the lucky prize. So yeah, like below for that.
They would like for Michael in a bunny suit.
Yeah. It's gonna be completely sauced up, mate. A lot of sauce. And what other videos do we make next week then?
There's a Hunter Files.
Oh, there will be.
I don't know what the Hunter File.
Yeah, we need to like think of something that's like completely scary and just gonna terrify the audience
It's just
and
like,
scare them off. So, comment below. What's a
Just-
scary place like without like crack addicts? Because we're trying to avoid that. But like kind of a abandoned manor would be quite fitting. Something to do with like a Driscoll brothers or something.
Okay.
Well,
Whatever.
that's one thing they do know is that the Driscoll brothers saga is finished for now.
True, but we will be we'll probably be talking about that on last week's podcast.
Yeah.
I hope.
I hope we did, mate.
So we're filming Halloween's podcast before next week's podcast, which is before Knock Knock.
No, we're filming it before this week's podcast. And then this is going up next week. So we're doing it in the wrong order. The Halloween one goes up. Are you putting it up next week?
Can't take you seriously with that.
Roadmen are serious, man. I just might slash you up in a
It's
minute.
kind of stupid how your fucking mask is showing. Because like whenever you put down your mask is covered in.
Two-faced, am I right?
So yeah, whatever Hunter Files episode you watched, and I think I have the story for it planned out, so it's probably the one that I think you'll have watched. That concludes the first season of the Hunter Files.
Yeah. No, we were talking about it. The first one feels like so long ago.
I know.
Only a month ago, but it feels like the summer period a little bit. But we didn't even get into like properly making content for ZeusWeus until like after the first week of September.
Yeah.
And time flies.
So we
Weird.
are filming this the night before Hunter Files, the Driscoll Manor Massacre goes out.
Mm.
So got that costume. I'm the psycho killer.
Will that keep you safe though? You have to watch to find out. I suppose we're sitting here right now, so I think we made out. But who knows?
Like, this is the week after last week's podcast.
No, this is 2 weeks after. This is so confusing. Why did
Inception.
Wait.
I don't even know.
Why
if
did I
this is-
say
Am I alive right now?
Back on track, because so Halloween themed episode. The content of the week is the content that's Halloween themed.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a Halloween. This is our Halloween themed episode of the podcast, talking about all things Halloween movies,
Spooky.
and all sorts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good point. Man.
Gotta get a smoke machine for all the Halloween.
Yeah, and then in this episode you're not gonna see anyone. So much smoke. Because I bring this smoke, I'm a roadman. I guess you haven't guessed below. Comment below if you thought I was a roadman.
This one
What's
is
that?
really spooky with all this, these lights and candles.
Yeah, he's not even looking at me the same. I'm so spooky.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So we have a few topics we'd like to cover. Obviously, like we said, we're filming this well in advance because the week leading up to Halloween is the week we're shooting Knock Knock, the film that I've been planning for a long time,
Mm.
and the first short film I made in quite a while. So that's hopefully going well for us in the next week time.
Yeah.
Last
It's been planned for a while. Even before I got on board with filming, you were writing the scripts well before summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
went through a lot of drafts, stuff like that as they do.
Yeah.
And stuff. I'm still, confident that if I sat down, I could probably think of a billion ways to improve it. But
Yeah, it's at its most refined version. It's perfect the way it is, but we always come up with ideas that can be different. I think the best thing to do is just shoot the film Because like having more ideas can always hold you back, and you might create something worse. You know.
At the end of the day, it's a wee short film we made. We've already got the money set aside for it, so it's the type of thing like, if we think it could have been better, we take that on board. Maybe when it's finally released to you guys, any criticism, we can get that. And we'll just take that on board for whatever we make next.
Useful criticism.
Yeah.
Don't hate, or it'll kill you.
Don't hate.
With their hands. Spoilers.
No spoilers, it's been out for 2 weeks at this point.
Oh yeah, it's been out for ages, I remember.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing, the future versions of us. Technical T has a very special role in Knock Knock, as we know.
Oh yes.
Do you want me to gamble on myself so I can actually see for a second?
If you can,
Yeah,
turn
hit
your
it
camera on
back.
yourself.
You want to turn that thing? Yeah, naughty.
Yes.
There, that's it.
So I'm actually a lead actor in Knock Knock. I don't know if you can actually hear me or not, but yeah.
Oh, I like it, man.
I mean, if it's right in your face and it doesn't hear you, there's something. There's something. Well, I mean, don't know about the Tascam. Tascam was fine last time we recorded, so.
No more
But-
twisted faces. Let's get right into business.
We have some special Halloween topics to talk about.
How special are we talking here?
Huh?
What's the first topic you want to get into?
Mike on his bloody hand.
It's not that bad. Oh, this.
What was
hand.
it like losing your hand in Hunter Files?
Well, not that bad, to be fair. You know, it happens, so, you know. It brings me back to my time in Vietnam. I was a cook. Burnt my hand in the stove. But yeah. The war was also happening at the same time. But I worked in a restaurant. So yeah. What about you?
I was just born like this.
Yeah, so you just got done with community service then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people about the crimes you committed?
Tax evasion.
Yeah. I like that one.
Do we all have a horror movie in mind?
See, I was thinking of one, but I feel like someone's going to snub it before I do.
I doubt it.
Probably.
Like,
I mean,
you two are doing the host today, so.
yeah.
So, as
Oh,
we
wow.
discussed, we're going to talk about the scariest films we've ever seen.
That's a tricky one because,
I mean,
Different types of scares.
there's different types of scares, but there's different types of talks.
yeah. I mentioned last week that
Are we
Smile
talking?
film.
Hmm?
A Smile film is like scary.
There is no last
continuously.
week. Last week doesn't exist.
Oh,
no,
yes.
Michael, that would have been like the second or third podcast.
No, he means the one 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. When I wasn't a roadman. I was talking about a Smile film. I thought that was pretty scary throughout. It's hard to pinpoint a scary movie I've watched. I've watched so many, you have too. So have you,
It's
Tom?
not a premium lager moment.
These are premium lager moments.
Smithwick's Red Ale. Delicious.
Smithwick's, you want to sponsor us?
This is sponsor worthy, honestly. A Smile film though. Good. Should we get into it?
I haven't seen it, I don't know.
No, we've talked about Smile, but I want to get into my film.
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Smile was your film.
No, I'm trying to think.
Oh.
Well, we already talked about it on the podcast. So
Yeah, we've already talked about it, so
maybe me and Michael can make a wee talk about it.
yeah.
Featuring Adam.
Yeah, cut that in, yeah.
It's just like you was talking about it and I'm like outside at the window like, guys, let me in.
It's your channel and your series at some point.
I'm like, is it my channel, my series? And I'm at the window like, guys.
I'm like, guys, give me back the password for the channel. Private. Yeah. I think Hereditary is a very good scary film. And we always talk about it. We always talk about the ending
We do.
and specific scenes. The ending with the soundtrack that builds up, it's very magic-y, but very harrowing too. It's a very spooky at the end, and it's a moment I always like remember and come back to. My brother Jordan, who lives in Canada right now, he's watched it like 3 times in a row recently, and he can't stop watching it, and like we've been talking about it, and it's just like a really good film that we agree on. It makes me want to rewatch it for Halloween. We should all get together and do it.
I would literally watch it straight after this.
Yeah, is it on like Netflix and stuff? Probably.
I have no idea.
I hope so, because Netflix always takes like good ones off.
So Hereditary, which is pretty topical at the moment because the actress that plays the mum in Hereditary is the same actress that plays the mum in The Sixth Sense, which we just talked about
Mad,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I never like distinguished that the actress in Hereditary was the same as the one in The Sixth Sense until you pointed it out to me.
Mm.
I suppose she looked familiar, but I never like tied the knot.
Well, it's the same as like remember like Insidious and Conjuring, the dad?
Yeah.
It's the same as the husband who's like the
It's
investigator.
Sinister.
No, Insidious and Conjuring.
Oh yeah,
Remember the
Insidious.
dad,
I
yeah,
said
dad
Sinister.
Insidious?
Yeah, no,
It's
you're right. You're right.
It's like a lot of like the horror movie actors do kind of. They kind of like you see them kind of have the same like Anna Taylor-Joy was in like no Northman's not really a horror movie, but she's
Yeah.
in that and The Witch. So is it
Why
kinda-
is that? Is that because it's the same director? Because Insidious and Conjuring, well, the early Conjurings looks the same as the Insidious film. A little bit. Conjuring gets better throughout, I think.
Mm.
From
No, but,
what I perceived anyway.
Like with the point I got was like some actors like going summer
Yeah.
projects. Like if you like look at like
Yeah.
we're talking about Anna Taylor-Joy, or if you look at Cillian Murphy, he's now in Oppenheimer. He also done Inception because he really likes the works of what's his name again? Christopher Nolan. So like stuff like that where it's like that genre of horror films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do see all the same actors within it because
Weird. I think they could find better people. That actor that played in Insidious and Conjuring, I think they could find someone better than that, surely.
How dare you? He was good.
He was good, but like, come on, how many horror movies are made with that one actor? It's bullshit. And I won't stand for it.
Are you feeling alright, Michael?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling myself, mate.
Well, like,
I've got a face jacket.
I think it's probably a lot to do with the fact that if a director sees them in a project that has, like you said, The Northman's not really a horror, obviously, but like it has a similar sort of look and like almost not time period. They're not anywhere close, but
there's the same
there's
style.
similarities between the
maybe.
settings. So like whenever, people see certain actors in those locations in those type of roles, and they're also writing something that's like, similar in style, they'll be like, oh, that person has proven they'd be great to play this character that I'm writing.
Yeah, because they played a role that's in a film that's significant to the genre.
Yeah.
So they get more of the opportunities. Because like film is quite what am I saying? Horror films are quite a refined genre. Like there isn't many made that's like great. Well, there's great movies in every other genre, really.
Yeah, but like, even if you think of like, I know I'm staying on here, but even if you think of like action movies have the same action stars. If you look back in the 70s, it's all like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Arnold, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like like every like genre does have its like
Mainstays.
it has its like kind of mainstay actors because they know that those actors can act for those movies.
Yeah,
and
like Arnold and like the muscly kind of thing. Because Arnold is great at a lot of things. He's not the best actor in the world. He like screams a lot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But like, well, you can tell like if you compare old films to new films, we study it differently. We have a different perception of what is good now.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio's top tier. He's like very stylistic. And can play a lot of characters. Like a true artistry, really.
Yeah.
You think back to those films, I don't think I would remember them for the acting. But I understand their significance, for sure.
Well, like, Hereditary. Like, Hereditary's one where it's like, going back to, like, I think the mum's performance in Hereditary.
Yeah, her performance was really good.
Well, she's just, like, she was, obviously you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, but, like,
yeah,
she's incredible in The Sixth Sense. I think it's just a case of she's a great actress.
For sure, she played the mother in Sixth Sense so naturally. You really believe she was like a good, caring mother to this child, this troubled child.
Yeah.
Hereditary. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it, you probably have, but the part when the the part when the little girl dies. We talk about this part all the time. It's so like harrowing when her head gets chopped off by a lamppost. You know what I mean?
I'm turning this into a short, just with no context, just you being like, her head gets cut off.
I'm getting cancelled, man. Come on. But whenever the teenage son, whose little sister dies from this lamppost slapping in the face, goes back to the parents, goes to sleep. The parents come out to the car in the morning and finds her deceased body or remains in the back seat of his car. You know, her reaction to finding her daughter's body is like, it's actually terrifying. She's generally like makes you seem like, you know, like petrified that if you were in her shoes, how would you react? And the way that she just like screeches, it's horrible. Like, it's like beyond acting. It's really freaky.
Also, a bit about Hereditary, I just realised, like, obviously I'm not using my phone, but the actor who plays his son, isn't he an old?
He is.
An M. Night Shyamalan movie as well.
Yeah.
We come across as like M. Night Shyamalan fanboys.
I really do not care if that's the case, because like he obviously is like one of my favourite directors, so it's like. But yeah, I was reading the thing about that the other day, because you know the way obviously in old there's a lot of different, you know, actors and actresses playing the same character just at different stages in their life.
Yeah.
I never really thought about this, but he said that what he would do is he found the best suitable actor that he wanted to play this character and then built around him. So he's like, this character, they're most important in the story when they're 23. So who's the best person to play that? Okay, I've got that. Now who can I get before and after that looks similar? So he always picked one age and then built around that. And the guy from Hereditary is the guy he picked to play the wee kid, and then basically based all the other actors he got off that. Like, okay, who can I get to play him when he's younger that looks like that guy from Hereditary? Who can I get to play him when he's older that looks like him? So that's the way he sort of casted it. But like the guy, that guy you're talking about from Hereditary, he was like the main one he picked to be like, he's playing the wee boy, and then everything else is built around that.
Yeah, because he's an actor that can play an older role or a younger role. A lot of people have that gift. I was like looking on an acting agency today, backstage, it's called, and I was scrolling down like the people, like you can select what people and what region and stuff, and there was a lot of people that stated they could play age 15 to 25. I said that's interesting, because they can shave and look really young and play a younger role, and then they know that they can play an older role, they grow facial hair. That's a cool thing to identify.
Well, that's like, if you look at like the cast for like Derry Girls,
yeah,
most of those girls, they aren't like, I'm pretty
oh,
sure
they're not in school,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure, yeah,
That's
not,
true.
they're always in adults, they're like teenage actors, nor are they like
20s.
they're like 20s, late 20s, but because they're still, they obviously they probably take care of themselves and they don't look youthful.
Yeah.
It's, you kind of can last around. But even like Brad Pitt, like Brad Pitt's had roles where he looks older and he shaves his face and he looks really young again. But like that's a little bit. I do agree with you though. Like,
especially in Benjamin Button. he went young for that one. Yeah, weird film.
Curious Case of Benjamin.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Not enough people think about that film. That film's a weird watch. I feel like you're on acid or some Benjamin Button, baby man, starts
Baby
young,
Yoda.
goes old, goes young again, bangs abroad.
Baby Yoda.
Do you want to get into that?
So wait, hang on. So we're this retrace that we're old, with Brad Pitt, Hereditary. Right? Before we get too far away from Hereditary,
that was my favourite film. Yeah.
What your favourite horror film?
Horror film.
Would you say it's the horror film that scares you the most?
Yeah. I wouldn't specify as scared, just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like a weird emotion comes over me like when the film finishes. Who directs those films like Midsommar, Hereditary?
Oh, I can't remember.
What's his name?
Right, technical tea on the mix.
Let's see it.
While you're at it, look up an episode of The Twilight Zone about a bookworm and a nuclear apocalypse, because I'm going to talk about that.
Oh, interesting. I might know what that is.
I just can't remember the name.
Is that the
I
one where
almost
he takes
typed
the
up.
glasses?
I almost typed up technical tea.
But yeah, so you would say Hereditary's probably like...
Hereditary's the best one that comes to mind. It's
The
not...
director is Ari Aster, by the way.
Ari Aster.
And the budget for it was 10 million, and it made 80.2 million.
Oh shit! Good margins.
What
Good
was
margins.
What was the look up, by the way?
Twilight Zone episode, bookworm in a nuclear war.
Yeah.
So you would say it's like the... Would you say it's like... It's obviously a great horror film, but like, would you say it scared you the most? Because you and me talk a lot about that ending.
Yeah.
And how like terrifying the ending is.
I'm thinking, is scary the right way of coming across it, or is it how it affects you afterwards? And like,
that
you look at things differently. Yeah, scared. I would say scared, because I try to think of the scariest films, and I think a lot of goofy ones, and it just doesn't fit into the category of Hereditary.
Scary Movie 5.
Yeah, but if you think of the genre of scary films, Hereditary is number one for me. Like, very scary film. Definitely.
I think, because we've spoken about the ending.
Yeah.
Go watch Hereditary. We're not going to... Obviously, you spoiled the thing with the lamppost. But like, that's like...
I still did spoilers. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Oh, then if you've done that, I suppose I could talk about spoilers. So
yeah.
The family's dead, and the wee boy's crowned the... I can't remember his name, but one of the kings of hell.
Yeah.
And all of his family dead. They have this like satanic ritual in like the treehouse, but it's the music that plays during the scene that it just makes you feel.
It's so weird.
So uneasy.
And the way that they're inside the treehouse, and the treehouse is this big space.
Yeah.
And that, oh man, it is weird. Him getting to the point where he's in the treehouse is also quite strange. It's just a beautifully set up film, and you know, it takes the invisible camera technique to a new level.
Yeah.
Sets inside the treehouse, for example, where the space is just so much larger than just inside of a treehouse. It's just it's very, very smart filmmaking. You know, I don't know how they've done it, but you know, it's worth a watch.
Would you say, would you say the ending to Hereditary and the ending to Midsommar are almost very similar in a sense?
Very similar, but one's more terrifying to me than the other.
Yeah.
And it's Hereditary. Midsommar's ending's creepy.
I find Midsommar's ending not scary, but I find it almost more harrowing. Because the idea is like, whenever you look at Hereditary, it's like, about like the Kings of Hell. You can think that's like a real thing. When you see like Midsommar's like, this cult is celebrating it, but they don't. Like, it's almost like they don't think they're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, it's a traditional Swedish cult. This is like normal in Sweden, which is what they. They don't.
I don't think Sweden normalizes this murder.
No, I'm talking about the film.
So that's why PewDiePie moves country.
I'm out of there.
You're talking about Finland? Like, what? No, Midsommar is Swedish. You're right there, but like, that's not what they don't kill people, Michael.
I don't. No, I was talking about the film.
I thought you said Finland.
Finland. I love Finns. Yeah. I watched Midsommar and Hereditary a few times. I get what you're saying. Midsommar is. It's a very weird ending. It feels like you're on like drugs or something, like watching it.
And the guy getting burned in the suit, and it's really happy music, and then like she's got the flower crown.
Yeah, I didn't want to tie the similarities between them, but when you're saying that, the music at the end of Midsummer is also on par to a degree.
I probably would disagree. I'm telling you, man, something about the music at the end of Hereditary.
But Midsummer has that same feeling to a degree. It's
same director.
It's the same director, so he's obviously known that Hereditary has worked for that. He's done a weird setup for the end of Midsummer too. It's just Hereditary is just something different, man. Like something. It's like not a movie. It's weird.
I wouldn't say it's like the best horror movie I've ever seen, but especially in recent years, it's probably like one of, if not the best I've seen recently.
Very good film in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as good as like the Minions 2, but like.
Well, they got purple now, so I clicked off after that happened.
Why did you not like the purple Minions?
Well, it just said the teeth. It was gruesome, man. Like the kids were screaming in the cinema.
It's meant to be a horror film.
I don't know. I'm more bananas and meadow kind of guy, but yeah.
What were you technical to? You got a scary film in mind? Something that really terrified you the first time you watched it. That's not Slenderman 2018.
Not really. But that's a movie. That's a scary movie. We talk about coming soon.
The Slender one. I watched that a few times. Like fucking hell.
I think. But do yours first, now you can come back to me on mine.
You see, I had two different things about it. First was like that Twilight Zone episode.
What was it called? The Bookman and the Worm?
I don't think it was called that.
Because I think that we could call it the Bookman.
What was it called?
Do you want to talk about the Twilight Zone? Tom goes to his and you go to your film.
But that's the thing, I don't know the name of the thing, but the film I had, right, was there was a few different films I was going to talk about. I'm not going to pick an M. Night Shyamalan one. Can't do that again.
There's better be one that's scary.
Plus, he hasn't really made any like
definitive horror movies.
He's made a few that I think The Happening tried to be that. The closest thing is the most horror focused one that he made from memory was The Visit, but that's like purposely a comedy horror.
Like a bit. We laughed a bit at that. Like,
but unlike The Happening, where you're laughing at it, because it's The Happening.
Yeah.
Like the Visit is funny. Like it's meant to be funny. If you know what I mean. Like there is jokes in there.
Yeah. And
of course, at the final scene in the movies, the wee boy rapping in his bedroom and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to be funny.
I see how he's trying to make it scary, having these innocent kids going to visit their grandparents. The twist at the end that makes it that much more scary. I like the concept of that film. Not the scariest movie, but
yeah.
I wanted to rewatch it, remember? So it was a good film for sure.
I'm trying to think of like horror movies I've seen in my past that have like legitimately terrified me, like I couldn't sleep.
Halloween X.
Yeah, no, you mean the Twilight Zone is on the one that was in like 1964.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want us to list all the episode names and you see if you can figure out?
There's a lot of episodes. There's like 5 seasons.
Yeah, there's 36 episodes in total.
Okay.
But I have like all the episode names.
Just search
go
book
through
one.
them. Go through them, and I'll hopefully I'll spring out to me.
Right, In Praise of Pip, Steel, Nightmare of 20,000 Feet.
That's probably the most popular one, but it's not it.
Mm.
A kind of a Stopwatch. The Last Night of a Jockey.
That might have been the Stopwatch one, but keep going.
The Last Night of a Jockey, Living Doll, The Old Man in the Cave, Uncle Simon, Probe 7 Over and Out, The Seventh is made up of phantoms, A Short Drink from a Certain Fountain, 90 Years Without Slumbering, Ring-a-Ding Girl, You Drive, The Long Morrow, The Self-Improvement of Salvador Ross, Number 12 looks just like you, Black Leather Jackets, let's see, Night Call, From Agnes of Love, Spur of the Moment, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, Queen of the Nile, What's in the Box, The Masks, which is absolutely terrifying.
The Masks, I think I remember.
I Am the Night, Colour Me Black, Sounds and Silence, Caesar and Me, The Jeopardy Room, Stopover in a Quiet Town, The Encounter, Mr. Garty and the Graves, The Brain Center at Whipple's, Come Wander with Me, The Fear, and The Bewitching Pill. So you thought it was...
The one near the start with the stopwatch, does it tell you plot lines for each one?
I couldn't have got more about this episode.
Yeah, go for the one about stopwatch.
A unique watch has the ability to freeze time and stop the world from moving.
Nope, that's not it. Okay, well, I don't remember.
I'll keep going freedom if you want. You can explain it.
So I can't remember the name of the episode. That's why we're looking
It was a different show.
But it's an episode of Twilight Zone that's always scared me. That the original TV show.
Yeah.
Because it's basically about this guy. He's a wee bookworm, right? And he's always getting picked on by his peers and all that.
Right.
And one day, he works at a bank, and bank vaults are lead lined, right? So he goes to work at the bank, and from memory, it's been a while since I've seen it, but he falls asleep on the job. You know, he falls asleep but he was guarding the vault. So he's in this lead lined bank vault, and there was a nuclear war between America and Russia.
Whoa.
So he wakes up hours later to basically find that his town has been leveled. It's gone, but he survived because he was in the lead line vault. So he comes out, and long story short, he's almost happy that this has happened because he's like, do you know what? All these people bully me, you know, I always get treated badly, and now I can just go to the library, and which he does, and I can read all the books I want, and no one's going to tell me no, and I don't have to go do my job and do all that. And he goes to the library, and he trips and falls, and he smashes his glasses off the ground.
Yeah, you told me.
And the lenses obviously are destroyed, and he's completely practically blind without them. And the episode finishes there with him stuck in a world that's been devastated by a nuclear war.
Oh,
nobody's
that's
there,
so fucked, man.
and he can't see. He's just stuck there alone, unable to see.
Last person can't find his glass. Like his glasses are destroyed, probably, and then like can't find anyone to repair them or get new glasses. There. He's just done. He doesn't know where he's going the rest of his life. It's terrifying.
And it's like there's no monsters, there's no anything like there, but it's still one of the episodes that terrifies me the most.
Yeah.
And sometimes the thing about horror, it's not always about like the monsters or anything like there. It's about
the experience.
Like, it's the type of the story that when you think about it afterwards, that makes you go, like if I was in that scenario, I would just put a bullet in my mouth. Like I wouldn't want to deal with it. That's terrifying. And that's one episode. Black Mirror, which is basically the modern day Twilight Zone.
They are very good.
Some of the episodes of it are even more terrifying. Like it's like I remember, you know, I watched. I don't think I've seen all the episodes in the final season, but I watched most of the, Black Mirror episodes, and some of the. That's a show that if there's no ideas that they have, then fair enough. But I would love to see that show come back because some of the. If we're sticking with the theme of like things that when you watch it, they terrify you. Did you ever see the episode 15 Million Merits?
I know the events of each episode. I don't really know the names.
Had the main actor in it was your guy Daniel. What's his second name? He was in Get Out and Nope.
Oh, was this the one where he's on like a bike?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a
I was thinking about this
episode.
recently.
I hate it. It's so well. It's good, but like, it's a hate thing of like it terrifies me.
Yeah,
it's
stuck
like,
inside this simulation.
Well, they're not inside a simulation. They're basically all living in like this almost prison, and they have to like go on these bikes every day, which is basically their work.
Yeah.
And it's like they go back to these one bedroom like apartments or like one room apartments, and like their walls are TV screens, and they're bombarded with advertisement. They can't even go to sleep without adverts popping up and waking them up. It's literally like
it's like where modern day society is going.
That's the whole point of the episode. It's like this is the worst case scenario for like where the technology we have now.
You're living in it, so you accept it. You don't have the power to change anything because you're inside the system.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They don't have the power to change it. That's the point of the episode.
Horrible.
And he meets this girl who he falls in love with, who he catches her singing someday, and he goes to you have like the most beautiful voice. You should do something with it. that could be your ticket out of the system. That could be your ticket to get to the top, so you don't have to live like this every day.
Yeah.
And she goes on the show. I can't remember the scene where she goes on the show exactly, but basically, they don't care about her singing. It gets chucked aside.
Yeah.
And but they really like her, and they basically take her off to get conscripted into the industry, and he has no choice but to see that, because like I said, in the apartments your walls are TVs and you're bombarded with advertisements. So he's tormented with basically this image of like this girl that he fell in love with, that she's just been taken off and basically turned into that.
Yeah.
And he's still stuck there. And then I'll not spoil the
Worse
ending.
than prison. Yeah.
I'll not spoil the ending, but he also decides to go on the show, and it's very it's.
Yeah. What did he do again?
Oh no! It's.
Don't know, spoil it.
It's honestly probably. See, there's so many episodes of Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. Each episode is like the same eeriness, and it's not like necessarily scary, but it's how real it feels.
Yeah.
It's the situation that makes it like scary.
It's oppressive. It feels like it's not like. I don't think there's any episodes of Black Mirror I can remember that actually are like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's this sense of like dread you get from it, that it's like, oh, like that could almost happen.
It makes you feel vile. Like,
yeah, that could happen, and like if it did happen,
yeah. That's the stuff that like makes you feel panic and be like,
yeah,
no, I don't want to work a £5 an hour job the rest of my life. I want to get out and just be in control of things.
You want to work for ZeusWeusFilm?
Yes. The rich run the country.
So that's it again, mate?
No, I'm not going to get into it. But,
I'm just still using that hat. I keep forgetting that you're
oh, fuck, this is on the ground, wasn't it? He chopped my hand off. I mean, spoilers.
What was that?
Oh, no. My poor hand.
Update by the way from Technical T side here. The actor who known for those movies who didn't open like the Black Mirror episode. So it's Daniel Kaluuya.
That's it.
Kaluuya.
And
I knew it began with K.
And I couldn't find an episode of Twilight Zone. I looked for the descriptions of all of them. There was one where it was like a hydrogen word went on, but I couldn't see any that was about that premise of story. But it might just be it's in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He was in Jordan Peele's new film, Nope. Seen that.
He plays a character called OJ.
So, no, mate.
So, yeah, I still haven't seen that movie.
No, bye.
Is it still in cinemas? It's not in Korean. Or is it in Korean?
I've never seen it. Belfast, I think it still is.
Yeah. Korean's not getting many movies.
No, I don't. I'm honestly, I'm not too sure if it'll get a Knock at the Cabin either. They never got old last year. It was the IMC in Ballymena that got old.
It's not necessarily their fault. I think it's if production companies want to spend the money to get it in smaller cinemas.
But I hope that Korean does start to get more, because it did miss out on a lot of things that Belfast Cinemas, part of the same movie house brand, didn't miss out on. So
I know everyone goes to cinemas because every cinema room I'm walking in, especially Korean, as of recent, there's only a couple people filling the seats.
Well, like when we went to see Smile.
That was Belfast.
Belfast.
Yeah.
Belfast. It's a horror movie, and it's
that was a Saturday. The seats were filled. Everyone was out. Yeah, but
like I told you the story about Old last year.
Yeah.
Like me, I went to see Old in Ballymena. Nobody. I mean, not a single. Like, it was me, the person I went to see it with, and like that's it. I mean, to be fair, it was the late night showing. But and I think it had been out for about a week or so, but like nobody.
The atmosphere helps usually.
It was, don't get me wrong, seeing Old was probably one of the coolest cinema experiences, because like the Ballymena cinema, nighttime, like nobody else was there. Like it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like That's not good. I wish more people, especially stuff like.
Oh yeah, I meant it as like the atmosphere of having loads of people there. Also without people at a scary movie, because you're kind of checking behind your back. No one's there.
Oh
Yeah.
Speaking of that, like, I'll not even joke. I seen The Northman several times. Because it was one of those films. Right. I seen it, really liked it. I wanted to see it a few more times to like support
a few times in cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And the first time I seen it was probably the worst, because I've always heard about people going into cinemas and smuggling in like alcohol and stuff and like weed, but like these guys, like, they were just the worst.
What?
And like,
you tell me about this smoking weed in the cinema.
Yeah, and I was just like, bruh, like, there's no way that you're not gonna know. And they were like sitting like, it wasn't Spidwicks, but they had some cans going, and I'm just sitting here like, I just came to see Anya Taylor-Joy.
God.
And I didn't get a chance because they wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I went to the cinema in Portsmouth, and it was a packed cinema, and like these teenage kids were like, one of them just like vaped in front of me, and straight away a security guard came in and made them leave.
Right.
Like, we don't have any security in our cinemas. We can get away with anything.
Well, so I'm going to tell you about this film story that I had. It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
Well, not scary, but like, this one was actually scary.
Should be scary.
If I got told you, I'm story before. So, I was once watching, I went to see it with my family, go to Dark Knight, the one with Bane, so it was Dark Knight Rises, I think.
Yeah.
So, during the fight with Bane, now, I don't know if Adam's edit will cut the scene in, but there's a scene where probably not, yeah. But there's a scene where there's like no fighting between, there's Bane and Batman fight in this sewer area where there's like lots of water. It's like Bane and Batman's first fight scene. Right. It's really good fight scene. Because it's quite loud whenever you're hearing it, because there's sort of loud audio and thing. I then hear someone called an ambulance. Someone during that scene had a heart attack.
Oh my!
And while we were watching that movie, I felt so awkward because like, my dad went over to go help the person. They asked for help. Like, they basically went over to check. She was a social worker at the time. So he went over just in case for station and help out. Ambulance comes in, ambulance crew comes in, and everyone's just sitting there watching the movie.
Wait, they don't stop the movie?
The movie wasn't stopped. Bane was still going, I was like, you adopted a dog, I was born in it.
They didn't stop the movie?
What?
No, the movie didn't
stop.
I
mean, like...
The show did not end.
What? I mean,
the person was okay in the end.
That's good, but like, I thought like, especially like, if they, I don't know, if Baines gives them a heart attack, you'd be like, stop the movie in case he keeps getting...
Even Bane was like, stop the film.
That's what I was wondering, I was wondering, whenever I was a kid, I think no, it was about someone else. Like, that just happened at that time.
Yeah.
Apparently because like, the movie caused it.
The movie was so bad that like...
Oh, the movie's good.
No, the whole like Dark Knight trilogy is a solid trilogy, but...
Oh, so... My choice, I have two choices. Right? Based off cinema experience and watching them.
Okay.
So, they're both pretty well-known horror movies. They're not classics. And I'm not really sure how people will actually react to these two movies, me saying that I think they're good.
Scary movie.
Yeah.
One is The Conjuring 2, not the first one, the second one.
It's the one that's in England.
That's what I was saying. The Conjurings get like better a little bit over time.
Yeah, like I think Conjuring 2 is the best one.
Yeah.
I think because the amount of like. I think the amount of different the two having I think what demons are on it, because I know they have. Obviously it's a Valhax, the nun.
Something beginning with V, I can't remember.
And then they have I always find the nun creepy, not the actual movie of the nun on its own, but when they actually introduced the nun on that
Wait, that's not the one in England, is it?
It's the one in England, yeah, it's the one that's in England, like the small house.
The nun's not in that, is it?
The nun isn't it? The nun's the main
I think that's the first movie that had the nun. Is it not?
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
It was because that's why I find it so creepy. I don't think the nun deserved its own movie because I thought that the nun was good complementing other demons within that movie. Because they basically had that one, and then what I thought was amazing in that movie was when they introduced the Crooked Man.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked the Crooked Man scenes in that movie. And it was the way that they sort of used these demons in a way that was, they gave them their own characters, their own individual sort of like creepiness, but the setting as well in a cramped house in England, it wasn't like this big open house like Inception, where it was like big open like plan house in America where it's like a suburban lovely family house. It was like, it's like a tight council estate type home from what I remember.
I know it is, yeah.
So it was like, watching it felt very surreal. Cause it reminded me, if I went to a house and like near me, it would be like, you can almost imagine reasonably similar. So I always find it creepy after I watched that movie. But then the second one I was going to name, which I don't remember if you remember in time, what was happening was when it was released.
Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah, I remember that. Mm.
Because, do you remember what happened when that was released?
Oh, the Killer Clowns
which
stuff.
the 2017 one, not the second one?
Not the second one, the first one. The first one I think is better.
I see.
It's not like Killer Clowns.
We'll get into that because obviously.
Yeah.
We'll get into like that stuff, but like, which one we'll talk about them. But like, yeah. Like you said,
yeah.
The Killer Clowns on the list.
Yeah.
God,
so no, but the other thing was like, apparently people were going during the movie dressed up as clowns, and tapping people on the shoulder, going behind people in the theater, where you put on clown masks. Did you ever hear about that?
Of course, like sure it was a big thing cause,
that's funny.
Like we were told to like be careful walking home from school and stuff because it was such a big deal.
I remember that.
That's might have been like shortly after that. Yeah, that was a creepy thing on its own, but I'm not sure if it was like the right time, the time period. But I'm pretty sure that was it was either right after or during it.
I think because it came out when we were still in high school, just like the tail end, pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't know the idea exactly, but I just remember hearing all the stories like the idea that I'm watching a movie with a killer clown and then someone, even not a killer clown, just walks out in a clown costume.
With his eye holes. Yeah, that can be spooky. Wait, so they're walking in as clowns. I don't think that's the best move. I think then bring the mask with them.
That's what I think people were doing.
Do the scary part and put a mask on and scare someone, yeah.
Yeah, I heard. No, actually, I'm not sure if that's true. What? I was already seeing something a long time. It might not be true. It was like a thing. It was like a cinema had someone go in as it to like enhance the experience, but I'm not sure if that was actually.
I'm not sure.
That's funny.
It sounds like a cool idea, but like at the same time, it was kind of predictable if you knew it was going to be there.
It was a real ex-convict they hired. They went in and started swinging his knife and stuff. Do you imagine?
But yeah, when it comes to like the It movies, I want to watch them again, but I don't. The first one's more scary, obviously.
Yeah.
It's much scarier, and there's certain parts about chapter 2 that are like, but like, it's sort of like a weird blend of horror and comedy to the point that I actually like might say I prefer the second one.
Yeah.
Because there's just some scenes that like. I don't know. I think we should watch them both.
Yeah, I think it was the way I describe it is I think the first one's very much like the Goonies idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the kids want like kind of thing that inspired both like Little Creep and also probably Stranger Things.
Yeah.
To an extent, but whenever like I find the kids are between each other, but I find the actual scares because I think with them being kids. They have a lot more fears than the adults would maybe have, or like more like widespread. Where like adults have very niche things.
But that could be a reminder for adults because when they were kids, they were scared of certain things.
Yeah, that's basically what the second movie is.
So it plays into the child in you. Yeah.
Yeah, like I always preferred the first one. Just I just felt as if it was. Whenever the monster isn't actually fully beat at the end, it always kind of leaves that kind of creepy feeling of like, oh,
it's coming back.
Yeah.
Same with Halloween, Jason. Yeah.
Did any of you ever actually watch the Tim Curry one?
I haven't seen it.
It's kind of like the same deal because it's obviously one giant film.
Yeah.
And it's like so it's basically chapter 1 and 2 roll into one giant film. It's kind of the same deal. Obviously, the kids scenes are a lot scarier than the adult scenes, but like, it almost like, just like the Bill Skarsgård ones, leans into that and allows like the adult scenes to be a bit more humorous in a way. Like, and obviously like Bill Skarsgård's also like amazing, but Tim Curry's Pennywise is amazing. But like, the one thing that I would say is definitely improved, even though the climax of the second one with Bill Skarsgård's a bit weird, but like, I still remember watching the Tim Curry one, and then when like the final form of Pennywise came out, it's
just a guy in a van.
I mean, it's a TV movie, to be fair. A TV movie from the 80s. It's obviously like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, going back to like Tim Curry, Bill Skarsgård, which one did you find actually scarier? Because it was kind of a mixed thing. Because like people were like, oh, like the kind of normal creepy clown looks scary. The idea of like a creepy clown that's also just a demon.
Yeah.
Is very scary, or like it plays into your fears as clown. Yeah. It's creepy as hell. But I always the Bill Skarsgård one always like, if I picture Tim Curry, which I like from seeing is creepy. Yeah. He looks funny, but almost in like an uncanny creepy way. It's like, you know, you just look like a normal clown, but also you see the scenes that he's in, and he's terrifying.
I might actually go with Tim Curry.
Because like that thing is like, I can see where you would go.
I haven't watched that one.
But I always think Bill Skarsgård for me is more like, if I saw one of them, which one would I creeped out more by? I would be creeped out.
I suppose it's more the film around him though, like the Bill Skarsgård one. If you compare like, you know, the dream sequence with Georgie at the start, like both of those movies, that scene's terrifying, but without a doubt the Bill Skarsgård one's set up in a lot more sinister way. Like, it's a lot darker, and they have like the whole graphic thing when Georgie gets his arm ripped off and all that. Like, it's much more it's much darker. So it's like, I don't know how much of it is like, is the performance is scarier, or is it a case of the movie around them is scarier?
Yeah, like how I describe it though, the reason why I find Tim Curry scary is like, if I saw Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise on the street, right, and I lonely like dim at night, I'd be terrified. Yeah. But I'd be terrified because I know that he looks like a demon.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't look like a normal clown. If you saw Tim Curry's, the reason why I find it terrifying is, oh, it's probably a guy returning from his job. Is it a guy returning from his job? That's what's scary about it, because if you actually know the connection of that movie, it's like he just looks like a normal clown.
That's the thing.
So it's like, that's where I think it's like, it's different when the ideas of like where they're scary. One's outright terrifying, whereas one's like, oh, it could just be a normal clown.
Yeah.
Like, but it's clearly not.
I'd probably have to go the new one too. It's like, overall the time they'd have to make it, upgrade it to a degree, and more like demonized.
Yeah, especially like movies around it, and the amount of prosthetics that are used in that movie are like unreal. Like the actual creation of Pennywise is great. I think the movie, like, they both act differently as Pennywise.
Yeah.
Which I think is like cool. But yeah, like that, like I love that because I love Bill Skarsgård's performance. But I also just bought the first one. Like, I always liked the Goonies as a kid.
Yeah.
And I give, but there was a lot of moments.
I love that moment.
But there was like enough in like at one for me to be satisfied.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like I ever needed an at two. But like, I like both movies.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have Kevin Hart as Pennywise.
The Rock.
Put it down, man.
The Rock's Georgie. He's like, give my arm
Smith
back.
runs in.
Where's your hand? Why don't use your hand?
I have it right here. Oh.
You motherfucker!
What the hell? There's a finger missing.
Why did you even do that?
I just picked it up.
You put that on. That's a. Yeah, you put that under the rocking chair and like put back on it, and then it's like
Did I
slice
slide
the finger
back?
off.
Surely it doesn't come off that easily. It's good as new. Wait, I'll sell it. I'll make it look good. I got super glue in my drawer. That's a shot.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys.
We're gonna wrap this up here. I want to kill Michael.
That was our.
Oh god! Oh, it's all falling apart. Take the finger. Take the finger. Well done.
That was the Halloween special. The post-production podcast.
Let us know in the comments if you're.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah! Oh, not the finger.